Episode 37 of the Long Haul Podcast. I'm Nine, as always, joined by my good friend and co-host Kerry. How are you doing, my dude?
I'm doing well, but by some... Oh, there I am.
Yeah,
I was going to say that
I
I wasn't showing up.
You're back. How are you doing, my dude?
Why don't you love me? I'm fine. It's been a pretty agitated week.
On all fronts, man. On all fronts.
On all fronts. A lot of testing, a lot of playing, a lot of good stuff happening, a lot of bad stuff happening from picking up on some of the bugs of some of the way things work right now inside the game. And but most of all, it's been more of like reporting nonstop stuff this week.
Well, a lot of stuff is happening on our front. We are the lucky few, lucky to be in the game and have gotten inside. Very small, limited pool of players are in the game right now, so we are really, truly blessed to have been lucky to get in. For a lot of the community right now, this is a bit of a waiting game, which can be a little bit frustrating. So there's been a lot of activity on the Steam discussion forums, on the Reddit, on basically every single Discord. I mean, the week has been just going so fast, man. I got a key. I think it's now a week. It feels both like it went super fast because I just want to run home and play. And at the same time, it feels like the week was really long because so much has happened. We got a small patch from Valve. No Moon Days though. We haven't had Moon Days in 3 weeks now, I think. We didn't get one last week.
We did. Last week is when they said the beta was open, wasn't it?
Was it?
Or was that?
I think I was so excited I did not even read it.
Yeah, I think last Monday is when they said they opened the beta started last Monday.
No, well, the beta opened, but we didn't get like a classic Moon Days post, if you will, right? Because we were getting those shop posts and so on with a lot of content, and then suddenly the beta just opened, and I guess all the devs were focusing on that. And I was kind of hoping that this week they would kind of return to that. And I kind of start to feel like the community kind of needs that juice, to get the discussion and going, to get a little bit of the bad juju out, and be able to participate in what the game is developing and so on. Because I think that's the frustration for people right now is maybe feeling like they really want to try it and give their input and so on, and then they come and they see the streams and it becomes a little bit frustrating. But I wanna start with positive vibes here. So before we say anything else, I want to say really, first of all, thank you to the Valve devs. The Artifact team has been quite active with the beta testers and talking to us and like super. What is the word? Receptive. They're listening. They want to be involved. This is like really clear that the attitude that they're having is super cool towards the community right now. And I got word that an official Discord is likely to be coming soon. Okay, so I wanted to start that out because I think that's really cool news for all the people that have been relatively frustrated that they can't maybe get close to the devs or share their opinion as much as they like. I mean, obviously there's the email address, but it's just not quite the same. So this is not official confirmation, but I wanted to share that with you guys to start off because I think it's like super cool. And so hang on tight. I think soon you're going to be able to, even if you're not in the beta, join in and just directly share what your thoughts are. What do you think about that? Discords and Reddit forums and types of things. It's always one of these things where it can very easily like snowball into a meme, if you will.
So I have 16 channels on my Discord. I guess I'm going to have 17 then.
Yeah, for sure. I guess a lot of Discords like ours and like the Reddit Discord, and I mean, most of my Discords are Artifact. Probably will not become totally outdated because you still have the small communities inside, but it will be good to have like a main one, I think. So let's hope we can all join together there when that happens and make it a really nice community for everyone, so that we can have a platform to make the game better together, I think.
I mean, the first Artifact 1.0 didn't have an official Discord, did it? It didn't, right?
No. We had the Reddit Discord. I think that was the closest thing to an official, but it wasn't.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't really count. So basically,
so this is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's all this turmoil going on right now. I personally wasn't quite sure what to do with today's episode. I don't think everyone who is interested in seeing cards has seen cards. So I think there's not a lot of value in going through single cards or discussing single cards, also because it takes a really long time. So the only exception I think we're going to make is maybe quickly talking about Nyx really quick, because Nyx obviously was going to win the vote. It didn't because Valve closed the vote early, obviously. Just to make Arc Warden win, but we finally get Nyx, man. What are your impressions?
What do you mean just to make Arc Warden win? You had enough time to vote for Nyx. What do you mean?
Dude, people need time to read the emails and the posts and stuff and vote. I mean, not everyone's like, F5ing the play artifact page. People need time to process.
We had both, so I guess all was good.
All right, so I wanted to shout out to Eric Robson. That guy's a legend. This guy, I don't know when it was, like maybe a couple of weeks ago, he tweeted something like, "Fuck it, I'm giving it googly eyes." Just like that, he just tweeted that. And now we discovered that the googly eyes, is it googly eyes or goggly eyes? Well,
I think it's googly.
I think it's googly eyes. Man, the googly eyes were Nyx effing Assassin. Look at that face, man. Amazing. So Nyx Assassin is a black hero, as everyone expected, because he's an assassin. 3 black, so reasonably like average stat, I would say, with a active ability Vendetta. We already knew that. Active cooldown of 3, 1 mana for activation. Move to a position in any lane. Okay, move to a position.
You actually think he's averagely statted?
Yeah, like
for a black hero.
I think so. Yeah, but his ability changes that though. I think 3/4. Like even Debbie's what, a 4/3?
It's a 4/4.
No, Debbie's a 4/3, and Mirana's
no, it's a 4/4.
Oh, okay.
Just look at Debbie.
All right, yeah, 4/4. So I guess you can say it's understated slightly.
I think it's a bit. I mean, even Shadow Fiend is a 3/5, and Sniper is a 3/5.
I guess.
So I guess they didn't. I'm gonna expect, depending on how much good or bad he comes out to be on the testing, that he might be changed. But my first impression is that he's a little bit understated.
All right. But what do you think about this, man? Move to a position in any lane at all. Nyx Assassin sneak attacks the new unit, blocking it with +3 attack. And sneak attack is a new keyword, which means a unit deals its attack damage to its target in a one-way battle. So it's like it's really like a backstab. Some people were suggesting calling it backstab. I like sneak attack. Combat attributes such as armor, retaliate, and piercing are applied. So it just bounces anywhere and puts a dagger in your back. That sounds really cool, man.
That sounds like Nyx.
And I think with items, this guy could be. I've been really high on Mjolnir, man. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But this guy with a Mjolnir, dude. He's just gonna sneak up on you, attack with a Mjolnir, and he's obviously gonna survive because he doesn't take any damage. And he's gonna proc those sweet chain lightnings, dude. Oh, it's gonna be sweet.
But it still has to. It doesn't go directly through armor, so it's kind of balanced.
It seems really good to me. Now, his signature card is Spiked Carapace. We see the anti-mage art getting spiked there. So it's a spell, 1 mana, choose a caster. When taking damage this turn, reflect damage back. Stun its source until its next combat, and then purge the enemy effects from the unit. So it feels to me like really well priced, like a good effect. So I think overall, he's a nice package, Nyx.
That's like super cheap signature card.
Yeah, really, really nice. Not a lot of heroes have one.
Ken also has a 1 mana signature. and I don't remember any other one right now. But
Centaur,
one is so good.
I think Centaurs is still one. The plus 6 attack, etc. Well, there's a few, not a lot. Definitely not a lot. But
Dude, what the hell happened to your Necrophos?
What the hell happened to my Necrophos?
Yeah, just go over Necrophos.
What's wrong with it?
Well, in the stream, he has like this super weird colors right now.
That is weird. Huh. I must have some filter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Might be something kind of. I was like, did they change the card?
Anyway, that's Nyx. I think it would be cool to discuss that quickly with you guys. I want to know, though, how much have you been playing, and what's your opinion on the overarching thoughts, overall idea on the game as it stands right now?
Okay, just to tell you how much I've played, I'd have to open Steam.
I think I'm about 45 hours in, plus minus, give or take.
Okay, I have a 16 play time because I only played. I got access later than you, and I played mostly in the weekend. So I know I played like 8 hours in a row on Saturday, and I played like 2 to 3 hours on Friday and whatever. But most of the time I've been playing is mostly trying stuff for science, like you like to say, new decks and new ideas, and see if this breaks the game. And mostly I've been thinking and giving some type of feedback because of the infamous Overdraw pile, which I guess most of the people who play right now dislike the Overdraw pile, since it's a mechanic that I feel it's very punishing, because for those who don't know what the Overdraw pile right now is, every time, so the max hand size is 10 cards in your hand. If you get more than 10 cards in your hand, there's this invisible pile called the Overdraw pile, where all the cards in the same order that you draw them above 10 go into. So, for example, I have 10 cards, the shop opens, I buy an item, I don't get an item. That item goes into Overdraw pile, and until I play one card from my hand, that card will not go into my hand. The big issue here for me is you do not get access to what's in the Overdraw pile. You do not know the order of the 10 cards that you currently have in your Overdraw pile. So, for example, and this is one example I've kind of used it on our Discord when we were talking about it, I had like 7-8 cards in my hand, in my Overdraw pile, and I know I had a Blink Scroll inside that Overdraw pile. And if I could play that Blink Scroll, I won the game. That was it. I just needed to put one hero in another lane, and I won the game. So I had 14 mana. I spent all my mana and like all the cards I could play that costed less mana possible, and I didn't get Overdraw pile. If I'd had access to see this, how many cards I had to, or how much mana I would require to get there, probably I would have either avoided trying to spend all my money for it, or probably just try a different tactic instead of going for it. What this opens, and people say like, oh, but that's a nice mechanic. You don't get to discard cards that way. Sorry about my cat. Get this. Goddamn. People say like, oh, it's better than discard. Then you get to keep your cards and stuff like that. And I'm like, but I think the mechanic is bad. And I say this because you get to see the card that you draw and goes into the discard pile. So if I'm like a pro player or I'm playing seriously, if I'm playing like competitive, if I see the card, I'll just write its name. And if I draw another card, I'll grab a piece of paper and write the name. And now I know what's in my Overdraw pile, but I had to write it down. So the game should be able to tell me this. I don't know. I don't know if the dev team didn't have time to draw, or if they just feel like you don't need to access this. I just feel that the mechanic is very punishing if you're not writing down the cards, or if you just get distracted by a bit. So for the last 2-3 days, I've been like scribbling ideas and thinking how can we make this work, how can we make this better. The same for, I know a lot of people I don't want to say angry, but like are kind of disappointed that you only draw one card now instead of two. But like if you only have 10 cards and you got Overdraw, and if you get 2 cards plus drawing engines, it's going to get insane and you're going to get your hands filled really, really fast. So most of my time late, and I have 16 hours of gameplay, mostly because I've been thinking about how to give feedback to stuff like this and try to find a way to go around these mechanics.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think also something that, I mean, not that Valve owes us anything, because they don't, but there are some specific things where I kind of would like clarification, like why, the question is why, because this is not something that you implement for absolutely no reason. And most people in the community have been saying that it's because of mobile, that you don't want to have too many cards in your hand. And I kind of would like Valve to be honest about this, because I would really personally prefer the game not to be worse, between commas, because of mobile. Okay, if they have to make some sacrifices because of mobile, that's their own choice, but I personally would prefer that they make the game the best possible and then think about mobile. I absolutely despise the Overdraw pile as well, because of all the reasons that you've said. I've also experienced games where I lost because of the Overdraw pile. And I think this ties in a lot with the shop, with the mana system, and the fact that you only draw 1 card per turn, because maybe we are overcompensating in our decks right now, where we want to put a lot of card draw in, because if you play a game without any card draw, you're gonna most likely be a constructed game, at least. You're gonna most likely end the game with fewer options than you would like to. And then if you the first reaction is obviously to just stack up on card draw, and then you happen to hit against the Overdraw wall. So it is, I think, I experienced that, you experienced it, I think other people have been experiencing that. It's not to say that everyone does, but it kind of feels like there's this Bermuda Triangle type thing where I think adjustments need to be made. And I'm currently of the opinion that it might not require slight adjustments. Maybe it would be better to consider changing some of the fundamentals in terms of total amount of mana or mana progression or card draw. But I definitely agree, in my personal opinion, that the Overdraw pile is the biggest problem, or the worst offender in the game right now. Yeah.
I mean, like, you can just go like, oh, we know it's bad, and how you solve it. So, for example, one of the methods that I think that could help, at least with this, is mostly when I overdraw, it's because I forget, I don't notice, because the Overdraw pile just shows as a little icon in the screen. So, for example, if you try to play a card on top of another card, a pop-up comes up, like the training wheels. Okay, so training wheels pop up. They go like, are you sure you want to do this? Go back to safety, or yes, I want to do this. So, for example, why not just have like an option inside the game that lets you say if you want it or not, that when you are going to overdraw, if you play, like you try to play a card that it's going to put you on overdraw, just say, you already have 10 cards in your hand. Are you sure you want to play this? For example, like you can disable or enable it because you might have decks. I'm just saying, at this moment, at a certain point, I was like, I had Lich, and I was like playing his ability to consume a creep and get mana back and draw a card. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'm like 3 cards inside Overdraw already. And so if the game warned me and said like, well, you already have like 10 cards in your hand, are you sure you want to do this? I know some people don't like this, but as long as you can disable it, or it doesn't even have to come like it don't even have to come checked by default. It can be unchecked by default, and I can just go there and say, I want to be warned if I'm going to do this, because otherwise the mechanic is just painful.
That would be nice. Yeah, it's very easy to miss as well, as a lot of things are right now, because it's a very early stage beta. And again, anything is what's the word? Anything is subject to potential change, so take everything with a grain of salt. And I will reiterate again that I think the devs are being super open and communicative, and they know right now what are the problems that most of the players seem to have, or the stuff that players seem to dislike the most, or at least that's my understanding. Okay. All right. So let's flip the board here a little bit. What is there something that really felt good, or something that you really liked that maybe you weren't expecting, or what are like the good points for you so far?
Tough question.
Are you enjoying the gameplay, like overall, just like
yeah, overall, yeah. I do miss some things, like, and I think you miss them too, like having more mana so I can play more cards and I can actually have more options on the table. And I don't want to say that I missed being able to play 3 turns, like 3 lanes, because we already can do that. And actually, I gotta be honest, being able to play all 3 lanes at the same time gives it a different strategic option, in my opinion. I don't think it's that bad. I do feel that having a single mana pool might be the biggest problem. Not playing all the things at the same time, but having the limitation on mana. But overall, being able to play the 3 lanes at the same time, actually, it was fun. Okay, at the start, when we started looking that we're going to play the 3 lanes at the same time, I actually went like, oh, I'm not going to like that. The game was really cool because you had 3 lanes, etc. But I kind of feel that being able to shift stuff from lane to lane and still being like, you have a hero on lane 2 and then you jump to lane 1 and still get to play something this turn before combat. Or if you play like, it's not enough magic now. What's it called?
It's no hesitation now.
No hesitation. Okay, so now you can actually make one lane happen right now, and stuff happens, and you might get like the blink scroll, for example. You can do tactical stuff like that. You can force a combat in a lane, get a blink scroll, push one hero into another lane, and actually be able to win the game right now, instead of being and need another turn. So there's stuff. These kinds of things are pretty cool, and I know that a lot of people look at this and go like, they changed the 3 lanes, so the game's not the same anymore. But I kind of felt like it gave a different dynamic to the game, and my first impression was this is going to be bad, and now I actually enjoy playing like that.
I think it's one of those scenarios where theory crafting is super hard, because I also thought I thought they would change the game too much. Obviously, without knowing the cards and the other rules, it's kind of a tricky game to play in your head. I also have been enjoying playing the 3 lanes. What I think happens for the most part here is because you've shifted from like a serial lane to lane time progression to playing all the 3 lanes. And as well with all the other changes. What I feel though is that the complexity in the game has been kind of shifted from being able to coordinate the play through the lanes towards being able to sequence all your abilities and spells correctly. So I think there's a lot more emphasis right now on at the beginning of your turn figuring out exactly everything that you want to do and figuring out if the mana is enough, and then sequencing everything properly according to what or how the opponent might react. I think in the first few games that was the thing I was struggling with the most, besides the annoying things like, oh, I forgot I cannot play an improvement or a tower enchantment across lane. That type of thing is going to happen to everyone who's played a lot of 1.0. So yeah, basically I think it is another game, but it still feels, in terms of the lanes, good. I think the complexity has been shifted elsewhere, but it's still complex. That was one of the main concerns that I have, was that the play of the game itself would be severely hampered. It's just a bit different. There's a bit less emphasis. I think I can still say a bit less emphasis on initiative. There are certainly still moments where you really want initiative. I think for the most part in the late game, for spells like Exorcism, Annihilation, etc. It's just that those spells come at a really high cost right now, and it often feels really bad to play a big spell. But so I wanted to give props for that. I think that's good. But again, all these things are interconnected, and it's always difficult to kind of separate everything. I still feel the courier feels very weird. The way that you obtain blink scrolls still feels weird and snowbally. There's a reason why they just nerfed Rick's Oathbound as well, because I mean that guy was just smashing towers like it was the easiest thing in the world, and then he gets you a blink scroll, and then your opponent is just trying to grasp at anything to get some attrition and stabilize the game, and then suddenly you just have 3 blink scrolls and you end the game with that. So it's a bit of a snowbally mechanic with not a lot of flavor, in my opinion, currently. But I think the devs are for the most part aware. The courier's already been changed in today's patch, changed slightly. We'll go through that. So yeah, I think everything is subject to change. I personally still see the game ideally going back towards 3 mana pools and 2 card draw. That would be like my dream. But I see a place where this could work. It just needs a lot of adjustments still. But I think people who've played 1.0 and maybe gave up the game will still recognize 2.0 here, and I think that's big because we need, we call them the casuals. We need the casuals to still to like the game and maybe still recognize the game. There is still complexity. So I'm overall more optimistic than I was before I got into the beta, if you will. But I guess I was also pushing myself down a little bit. I was quite pessimistic on a lot of the things. Still not totally happy, but I see, especially because of Valve's attitude, I really see that there's a way that we can bring this towards something that I like, at least. I'm gonna lobby for what I like, obviously. How have you been in terms of the shop, man? How's your now that we theory crafted the shop for weeks and now we have it? How has the shop been feeling for you?
The shop is kind of clunky is not the word, but I mean so you open the shop the first time, it costs 5 gold to upgrade, right? Unless you did like 25 gold this turn, I doubt anyone will press 5 gold. So the thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get either 1 item if you have enough gold, or you're just gonna get 4 gold. So the next turn it's gonna be 3 gold, and the next turn is gonna be 1 gold because they really want you to upgrade the shop. So, but I just feel that 5 gold to upgrade is, I don't know, man. I don't want to bash the store because I feel it's really hard to get it working. It's not an easy task because the way it felt on 1.0 was not perfect, and I know that currently it's not perfect also. But I don't feel that don't know, man. I don't have any ideas. Okay, so I have no ideas how to make the shop better. But I do know that how it is at this point is in like it's okay-ish. It's not good. It's okay-ish. It can get much better. I just don't know how.
I feel you. But at the same time, it is kind of our.
Don't feel me.
It is kind of our job, rather, to just transmit the feelings, because often it's not about, we're not here to find a solution. We're here to say, hey, listen, this feels weird. Maybe I don't know why, but it just feels like out of place. And that's something that obviously we experienced with 1.0. That's something that also Dota has been experiencing a lot, is my understanding too, where maybe something looks good on paper or looks good mathematically or so, but then if the perception of the players is different from what the numbers say, you just gotta go with that, right? The shop might look great on paper and so on, but if the players feel like it's awkward, I don't think it's gonna work. To me, it's been mostly feeling a bit clunky. I can't really put my finger on you, like you say, my finger on it, like you say, but it's this is becoming a sexual harassment podcast. I cannot really put my finger on it. The early turns especially feel very scripted and kind of, and then often I feel like unless you're a specifically dedicated gold deck, you're very rarely going to want to go for the last tier items. I personally kind of would like to see the mana costs and the gold costs on the items change a bit. I think it wouldn't hurt to have some free items that don't cost mana to play. I kind of miss being able to see what level my opponent's shop is on, how much gold he spent. There's no, at the moment, the UI doesn't show any of these informations. It just shows you basically, if you hover over it, how much he's going to make this turn by the end of it, and how much gold he has. So it's really impossible or very difficult to keep track of what your opponent's up to. And okay, maybe that's by design, that's fine. Maybe that's a design choice, but I kind of missed that. Also, right now, I cannot even check which level my own shop is. Like that's happened to me multiple times where I forget how much it's going to cost to upgrade and what level I am. But I'm sure these things are very easy to solve. It's just the shop itself feels... I think clunky is the word. I keep saying clunky. It feels a bit clunky. Something's off. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure how to correct it. Just something feels off. I don't think it's... Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
So now that you've been into the beta, and I remember that the first time we saw that they had the reroll button, right? We were like, oh, they're making it like the Underlord store and stuff like that. Now that you played, do you feel that the button would it be better to have the button, or do you feel like they did good taking the button out?
I don't miss the reroll, to be honest. I don't miss the reroll. It's happened most of the time when I don't buy an item. It's because I cannot afford it, or I just want to like straight up upgrade her. So you can use the upgrade as a reroll too. Yeah, I don't feel like I miss it personally. Do you? Is that your experience?
No, not really. My opinion is that them taking the button out made no difference. Like it works okay how it is, in the way that it's like you said, if you press 3 to upgrade your shop when it's 3 gold, or if you press 1, it just refreshes your shop. So having the another extra button just to try and get the refresh for 2 gold felt like something that you didn't need in the shop.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is that even though this isn't really on any of the patch notes or really announced, I've heard from some players, and I don't know if this has been confirmed by devs or not, but I've heard that it seems like the shop tries to always show you, let's see if I don't get this wrong, but it seems like the shop tries to always show you one of your own items and one of the maximum tier items, and I think a secret shop item or something like that. So it's something. Yeah, Tubby is helping me. One of the items you can always buy. So it's always an item that you can buy, an item of max tier, and one item.
Unless you're poor as shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then you have the get gold option, right? So yeah, they are working on it. I think it still needs a lot of tweaking until it feels good, because that's the thing. It still feels like a little bit of a mini game. And so, yeah, it's still just kind of awkward that you're getting gold for doing nothing. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, man. It's hard to put into words. It's, I want to avoid being mean. Like, again, I don't want to call this, I'm going to call it fan. It feels like it feels fan service. It's like, okay, this guy hasn't anything to do this turn, so we'll give him an option to get gold. Maybe give him an option to do something else. I don't know.
I kind of like that option. Do you dislike the option to get like 4 gold or 3 gold?
I don't know.
It's like they just gave you 3 creeps. It's like an extra turn of doing nothing.
It's one of these things where I wish I knew how to design it better, and like I wish I had like great insight, but I don't. I have been playing a lot of decks trying to abuse gold generation. And I feel like at times my opponent can kind of keep up. Like I've played a lot of gold generating decks, and it's happened quite a few times that my opponent actually gets to a big item before I do. So I mean, don't get me wrong, gold generation works. I've also had games where you can generate like upwards of 200 gold, and by whatever, like I'm really just enjoying the card Mjolnir a lot right now, even though it's completely broken. So I'm having a lot of fun exploiting that. But
that has to be the best attacking item in the game right now.
I think Apotheosis Blade is probably the strongest one, but Mjolnir just has that sweet RNG.
Yeah, but it's so cool because it's like it gives you a mini Lich signature, like chain. It's a mini chain frost. Yeah. It's like it's an item that gives you a chain frost. Yeah, but I mean, how can that be better than Apotheosis Blade?
but right now the chain lightnings can all jump on the dead target. So it's like it's happened to me that I kill a target and then the target is dead already, but gets bolted 3 times. And then also the other thing that happens with Mjolnir is it's only battle damage. So if you hit the tower, it doesn't proc. So it's like really frustrating where like I have this 25 gold item and I'm smashing the tower and it doesn't proc.
It's only battle damage? Only battle damage?
No,
have you
it's not
have
only.
Have you tried doing a duel with it?
Yeah, you can duel with it, you can gank with it, you can, what's the other word?
And it procs?
Face punch, yeah, it does proc, yeah. That's my whole deck, dude.
I mean, you can gank on another lane and proc Mjolnir from first lane to the third.
That's why it's amazing. The 2 problems here is your hero has to survive, so you can't suicide it. If he dies, it doesn't proc. That's the number 1 feels bad. And then number 2 feels bad is if you hit the tower, it doesn't proc. But otherwise, it's been like the funniest item for me until now. Have you been experiencing with any specific decks, or what were you fooling around with?
Yeah, I tried. I tried to make a full blue deck that was like, well, they kind of fucking nerfed it now with the Hourglass nerf, where I could mostly lock your hand completely down and know everything you had in the hand, and then use Imperia to remove all your big playmaking cards and do plays while you'd cry in a corner because you couldn't play anything from card locks, and being able to remove all your cards. But
sadistic deck, basically.
I said yes, because I really hate that mechanic. And I was trying. I'm a really bad person. I was trying to show the community how the deck is bad. Made people cry in the forums that please, Bob, take this out. This is bad, because I really hate those mechanics. And I was maybe I should burn in hell. But I made a deck and tried to play against other people to see if. To start a riot, but I don't think I accomplished that. And I made something that I think of all the decks that I've done so far, the one I enjoyed the best is a siege deck. They made a lot of cards. Yeah, they made a lot of decks, a lot of cards that now actually make siege a viable thing, because no one would use much of siege cards in 1.0. And I kind of feel that. And I don't want to exaggerate, but I think 75% or more, I should have like 75% or more win rate in the deck. And I know the player pool is very low, but I did play like against 9 in Pronto and 9 seen the deck, and it's okay-ish, I guess. It probably needs some tweaking, and I bet that much better players than me would look at the deck and change like 5-6 cards and make it much better.
But that's true for every deck right now anyway. So.
Yeah, but I just feel that it was not something that you'd be able to use in 1.0, and it's been what I've been having the most fun is playing siege cards. And
let me tell you why you're having fun. You know why you're having fun?
Because Nyx Oathbreaker is a freaking mess right now.
Because Nyx Oathbreaker is broken AF by that card.
But you were saying they changed it. Is it not a 6-3 anymore? Because it's not on patch notes.
All right, this is is it not? Where did I
didn't see anything.
I thought that someone had had written that at me. Let's look quickly at the notes then.
Because you said that, and the first thing I did was like look at the patch notes. What did they nerfed my baby? but I don't think they did. Either that or I can't read. So let's go.
It was a stealth nerf, so maybe it's not written. So let's segue into the notes. All right, patch today's patch. Welcome beta testers. They've changed some stuff around the mission. Have you played the campaign missions? I haven't.
I played the first 4 missions. For all of you who haven't played a campaign and have it like 9, the campaign explains how Nyx went from who he was to the renegade Nyx.
I'm not sure if you want to spoil. Yeah, maybe don't spoil.
I'm not going to spoil. Okay. I'm just saying that the campaign is Nyx's story. Okay.
Okay.
It's all about Nyx and Legion Commander.
All right. So I'm just looking at Nyx right now inside the game, and the siege. The siege that used to be given to everyone was taken out. So it's confirmed. It's a stealth nerf, like JC Orion is saying in chat.
So he doesn't give siege anymore.
Like he used to give everyone in the lane. So every time he would deploy, he would give everyone siege, including himself. So basically, like if you had a full lane, it was 5 siege for doing nothing. Even the creeps were sieging. And so often when you played against Nyx, if your tower was at 20, it might as well be dead already, because even if you would commit in that lane, you couldn't do shit, because he would just sacrifice himself for 6 if he doesn't have any items, because if he has items, it would be more. But he would just sacrifice himself for 6 every round, and then if you had a couple of creeps or whatever, you were doing 10 every round easily. So this card was very strong.
I don't think I still don't think the issue, I mean, at most, you're denying 4 damage to the tower every turn. It's a chunk, but I still think that the biggest issue with Nyx is not giving siege. It's his signature. In my opinion, what makes him that strong, in my opinion, is his signature.
Could be.
I mean, I can sacrifice Debbie to give the tower less 1 armor, okay? And she does like the full damage on the tower because she battles the tower. I can sacrifice Debbie just to give the tower less 1 armor, and then my table will just wreck the tower. Okay, yeah. So in my opinion, I think Twisted Path is what makes Nyx so good.
It's a very good card, yeah, definitely.
Because to me, I think it would be a bigger nerf to Nyx if the cooldown was 2 instead of 1. And he could still give siege when he deployed. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, I didn't. I don't know how much playtesting it was done before they decided on doing this silent nerf.
We're here for the playtesting, so probably none.
No, I mean the devs. I mean they test the versions like.
Oh, you mean before the card? Okay,
test, right? Yeah. I don't know how much they tried it to see if this is a bigger nerf, or if they even considered nerfing the signature card. But I just feel that the signature, the path is mm-hmm. what makes the card so broken.
Well, we'll see.
Because I can literally you can literally put like plus 10 weapon on Nyx and just catapult him constantly. Yeah. Every turn you're gonna smash the tower, and there's not a single thing that your opponent can do about it unless he can destroy the path.
Definitely. I quickly thought about making a hero tier list, and Nyx was like, no question, number 1. There are others.
He's got tier. He's not even S tier. He's got tier right now.
He was a god. Let's see if he still is now after the slight nerf. But this is good that they're making small adjustments. Anyway, so campaign was slightly readjusted. They added some spells, changed some stuff around. Some UI things have also been changed. Notably, I think important to say, the river now indicates in which order the combat is going to happen in the lane, which I think is really cool. Because it's very easy to forget. Well, it's written on the towers right now, but it's very easy to forget. Oh, like combat's going to happen in this direction. So it's good to have more visual effects.
To be honest, I just think it's eye candy, and I doubt that's going to help anyone. Because if you're looking at the river to see the flow, you might as well just look at the number in the tower when you look up. So I just think it's kind of like more like an animation for the thing than being a
okay. Because I would think in the final versions when the game is polished that they would want to like declutter, like take as much visually unnecessary stuff out of the game. So if they can make the river, I mean the river's going to be in the game, so if they can make the river give you indication, I think it's kind of cool. That they could make.
You're going to need a bigger river if you want to have a
sure. The current board is placeholder, so well, we'll see. I think it's interesting. Something interesting also, because I made a quick user profile video. They've removed unused skill rating display from match history entries, so it seems like that was basically useless. I also will note that I also made a video trying to get 6 heroes into a lane with Underlords, and obviously I failed. And now they say Dark Rift no longer tries to move more heroes to its target lane than will fit there. So I think great success. I got Valve to implement a patch on Underlord. Woohoo! I'll say that it was me. I'll take credit for it. Okay.
On Underlords.
On Underlord, dude. The hero Underlord.
Because you just sounded like you said Underlord.
Yeah, could be. Well, Underlord has the ability Dark Rift, and I created a lot of Meepo heroes and tried to port them all into the lane, hoping that I would magically see the famous 6 sloth.
There you go.
And yeah, so the hero would bounce to my hand, and you couldn't even choose which hero would bounce, so it was kind of awkward. And now they've somewhat fixed it. I think it still needs a bit more work, but suggestions have been given on this. Yeah, if you're on Mac, there's some bugs fixed on Mac. Apparently, people weren't getting new heroes, wouldn't unlock new heroes on the initial packs. I didn't know this. I've been opening packs, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you if I opened heroes.
I got like 12 or 13 packs to open. Why you open packs? Why do you need to open packs?
I just opened mine on stream because I was waiting for a match, which has been a great part of the beta experience for now, is waiting for matches. Hopefully that got better today because there's been a third wave. I'm not sure I'll have time to play games today, but hopefully it will be easier in the coming days. There was also some issue where if you tried to match with people like Pronto, for example, which were in Southeast Asia or Australia or so on, if your data was going through the Singapore data center, you would crash. That's been fixed, so we can all play now. Pronto was using a VPN. Yeah, and otherwise there's been a bunch of slight fixes. Legion Commander has been buffed. Sorely needed. She's very... Right now,
I don't think she's still like a boring hero. I talked about this with the devs, and she was a 415 and not a 414. I think they might they kind of did an errata there, but she's actually now a 514. So they just inverted the stats. I still think that she's not very fun. I gave some suggestions to the team. And they said that they actually wanted to try new stuff, but first they wanted to bump up her stats and change how Moment of Courage works and see how it goes. But overall, they also feel that there's a lot of cool stuff that can be done with Legion Commander without making her broken. So let's hope that the next patch actually brings something new for her.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, her card is still very good, but you can only target heroes right now, and yeah, something's missing. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say she's weak. Her heal got buffed a little bit as well, but I think it's nice that they are reworking. Also, she's only got one ability. I think they were counting on Duel still being a very good card, and because of that, they were probably trying to stay away from adding a second ability, but it might just be the case that Duel becomes an ability and we get another signature, or they just add some random other ability. I don't know, man. But yeah, I've actually been playing her, so I'm getting a better feel for her, and I'll hopefully submit some feedback at some point. Sand King's Burrow Strike movement has increased from 4 to 5. Underlord, as I said, no longer tries to move more heroes than he can. What else? Some creeps have been changed. I want to talk about this.
The most important one. You're missing the most important one. The animated armor. That was so disgusting with Kana.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So I actually, the first time I saw that happen was Pronto. He bullied me, bastard. So for those who don't know, every time you have Kana in the lane and a creep enters, or any minion that enters the lane, it's devoured by one of Kana's dogs. So Devour works in a way that you absorb the stats of the minion that you put on the table. So you'd play a 1/2 armor minion that when it dies, it puts another item in your hand. So you just equip the armor, use the ability to put a minion instead of having the armor. A hound would pop and eat the minion, and then you'd get the armor back in your hand. It wouldn't be locked. You'd get to equip Kana again, put another minion, and so on until Kana filled the board with, if I'm not wrong, it would be a 5/3 minion. If I'm not wrong, I think that's how they would be. So you'd have like four 5/3 minions, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. Kana is one of the strongest heroes in the game as well, she can be also very frustrating to play around, especially when that happens. It's one of those situations as well where if you don't have many cards in your hand, you get that animated armor and you would just like, okay, now I can spend my mana forever, have fun.
I feel she's even stronger now than 1.0.
That remains to be seen, I think, but she's definitely, she doesn't feel weaker, I wouldn't say, but she was such a good hero in 1.0. Of course, because lanes could go wide, so it's just a different sort of hero.
It's now. Like it's mandatory to block Kana right now, because let's say Kana's signature gives the caster trample, and all minions do 0 damage, and you get all the attack that those minions have. So if you, for example, you have like 20 damage on the board, okay, and they're all blocked except Kana, you play Diabolic Conclusion. It even gives trample. I mean, come on. Even if she's blocked, she's gonna kill your hero and like do like.
I actually think trample is what actually pushes her over the top, because the dogs have trample. So even if you're committing to putting creeps or trying to hope your melee creeps block, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yes, she's just so strong. I think she's even stronger now than in 1.0.
Yeah, could well be the case. Another thing I really wanted to mention is Corrosive Mist. That I've been playing gold decks, so this card's been like the bane of my existence. Corrosive Mist right now has been increased from 5 to 6 mana cost. Corrosive Mist, for those of you on audio or who cannot see or don't know the card, it used to destroy all the items on the lane on heroes from both sides. What it does now, basically, it costs 6. Like I said, it was just nerfed. It destroys all items on enemy heroes. Okay, so your heroes don't get touched. Only the opposition's heroes lose all the items. So this can be brutal against economy decks. And then just to add salt to the injury, like Mulch is a new ability. When this card is played, draw a card from your deck which costs less mana. Okay, so she's going to replace it herself, which is obviously great. So this card was just like super high level. I think even at 6 mana, it's going to be very good, because gold decks...
That's still run 2.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Gold decks take a long time to get their footing as well. At least the gold decks that I've been playing, it requires that you buy some items, you drop some tower enchantments, and then you have to upgrade the shop a few times. So it's not like you can go crazy like you used to do in 1.0. There's no payday anymore anyway. So you always need a certain amount of turns to generate gold, upgrade the shop, generate gold, upgrade the shop, and then it feels pretty absurd when you just drop your items. Like I had an axe the other day who had Mjolnir and the gold generating boots, and I think a Cloak of Carnage, and it's like he drops Corrosive Mist, and I'm like, well, there goes my last 5 rounds down the drain. So it can be extremely powerful. But
because it used to have a drawback. Now it has 0 drawbacks, and it costs like the same. Now it costs 6, but I think six for an item that destroys all items on the enemy lanes and still draws you a card. I mean, if we're gonna look at, for example, Annihilation, it costs 6 and clears all enemies and all your characters. So it has a drawback, right? This has no drawback and kills all the joy of people who bought items.
Yeah.
I'm not screaming nerf at the card, okay? Because I think that the card is necessary. It's good, but for 6 mana, destroying all items instead of just like destroying all items on one character or your target, and still drawing you a card, it's like this card. The value on this card is just insane.
Yeah, I think I'm not the mana costs at 6 might actually be okay. It might have even been fine at 5. I think the big offender here is Mulch, because this is a really like a card that destroys, basically single-handedly might destroy an archetype such as Gold Decks, and the fact that you can replace itself. I mean, if you are looking for a spell and you don't have anything to destroy, you can play it anyway. It's going to replace itself. So I think actually what brings it over the top is the Mulch. Making it more expensive than 6 is probably going to make it completely unplayable. I think at 6 it might be in a good spot, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Now it's on par with Annihilation.
Yeah. So I think it might be fine like this. We need more time. But I think right now most decks, if you're not playing Corrosive Mist, like, what are you doing, bro?
If you're playing green and not playing Corrosive Mist, yeah.
All right, this is
you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. This is a big one. Courier now reduces the mana cost of items instead of refunding it. Have you seen how the new Courier works?
Okay, I haven't used it because I haven't logged into the game since the patch came out yesterday. I had to work like until almost 2 a.m. yesterday. Shitty day. But I know that instead of just now you don't need to have 1 mana. Just the item just costs 0.
So basically, the Courier now has a charge every round, and you can use this charge to play an item for free. I think it's going to be interesting to test. I have actually suggested to the devs to make tier 1 items come down for free as a suggestion to try out, because the Courier was feeling kind of awkward. I kind of like this because now you can spend your mana. It happened a lot, especially because we're all new players, that we would spend our mana and then be like, oh, damn, I could have played an item for free. Or otherwise you just have initiative at the beginning of the turn and you really want to play an item. But if you played the spell first, you wouldn't have been able to then play the item for 0 mana, and now you can. So I think this is a good change.
I think the biggest change, in my opinion, to this is that actually consumables now get affected too.
How do you mean? So you play consumables for free, or what?
Mm-hmm. You can blink scroll for free.
Okay, well, I think it's going to be interesting. I still feel like the Courier is in kind of a awkward place overall. I still feel like the Courier seems weird, wonky. I'm not sure, but I like that they're playing around with it because they recognize that something needs to change to make it more flavorful and feel more natural, I think. Yeah, otherwise, Mist of Avernus' cost has been reduced from 4 to 3. Thank God, that card was basically unplayable.
Have you played it?
Only in draft. It seems basically unplayable at 4 mana. Because the lanes are so restricted right now and stuff dies so much because the creeps... It used to be that Mist could buff the creeps twice in a row, right? Because they had... Creeps in 1.0 didn't use to trade because they weren't 1/1s. So you knew that the Mist was like a good investment because your creep would stick around for a couple of rounds most of the time. And now that's not the case. So the fact that the creeps die very, very often, or most of the time basically, means that the Mist loses a lot of its value. The fact that the slots are reduced loses a lot of its value. So I think it's completely fine to put it at 3. I don't think it's going to be broken. And honestly, I think it might still not be good enough.
I see this where I think like Mist of Avernus is one of the. It's like you said because the creeps die now. So Mist of Avernus is more. I only see it working, for example, with cards like Lady Anshu and Treant.
Are you there? Because I think my internet is playing out. It's
Yeah, something happened. I was saying that I think Mist of Avernus, 4 mana was too expensive indeed. But it's like it used to be good with any card because, like you said, creeps would stay alive a little bit longer. But now I think Mist of Avernus would be a card that I would like only play with Lady Anshu and Treant, for example, because both of them can actually keep your minions, like your creeps, will stay around much more.
Yeah, I like that idea. The tree and protector has been feeling way worse than I thought it was going to be. Having your lane full of creeps feels way underwhelming. It doesn't feel that good most of the time, I'm going to say. So yeah, it might combo nicely there. I'm just not sure that anyone's going to be looking to go wide if you go wide between commas, because I think going wide is, besides Kana, because she's obviously busted and she gives trample and so on, trying to go wide doesn't seem like a very viable strategy. I've played a few mono blue decks trying to produce like really strong creeps. Wasn't particularly impressed, I'm going to say. So I don't know. I think this card needs. I think maybe even could go down on cost, and even then, I'm not sure. I think it's just the effect. Might need something else on top, but it's something I haven't really played around much with, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, but for example, let's say you play the Treant on the lane. You know you're going to have a full creep lane, right? So if you're playing against someone that has like 4 creeps and 1 Treant in the lane, you're not gonna even bother to defend that lane because you know that lane, unless he starts playing other minions on top of creeps, is gonna do like nothing. If he pops Mist of Avernus turn 2, you know you have to defend that lane because in 4 turns you won't have a tower. Maybe less. It's going to depend a bit if he starts playing something else. But Mist of Avernus going down to 3, and if you play with buffing heroes like Treant, might actually be better.
I think the main issue is that it takes a long time, like even for 3 to stock the lane up. I think I don't know. I'm not super high on it, but I mean, as with everything in the game right now, we need more experience with these things. Yeah, so otherwise, regarding items, they've changed Blade of the Vigil to give Cleave +4. Great. I think at +3 it felt a bit underwhelming. The Hourglass has been changed, as you mentioned, and Cloak of Endless Carnage now only draws 1 card per turn. I don't know about you, dude, but basically all of my decks have 3 cloaks.
I have 2, between 2 and 3, depending on if I have any more cards to draw cards.
Yeah, this is also something that I actually now comes to my mind, is also that my item decks, for the most part, have been very repetitive, and yeah, for the most part, I've been using a lot of Phase Boots, a lot of Cloak of Endless Carnage, and Blink Daggers, and then Maul. Maul is so good right now. As long as the Courier is a tower enchantment, Maul is going to be so much value to get a Maul round 1, smash the Courier, and you don't even pay to activate it, which is like, it's like Mjolnir, dude. Like, so good, the items that don't cost anything to activate. So, yeah, I don't know if that's your experience too.
I feel that you shouldn't have cards or items or anything like that are instant choices. Like Blink Dagger was like an instant choice. Everyone was playing Blink Daggers. Everyone was playing Cloaks. And now I feel that Maul and for example, 1.0 at a certain point, no one was running a deck that didn't have Jasper Daggers. And now I feel that the Maul is kind of filling that place because you don't see a lot of people using Jasper Daggers right now, but everyone's been using the Maul because you know that you're going to, at least every deck has one tower upgrade, and it's going to be the courier. And to be able to deny someone the possibility to play an item for free when you can do it is like, it's very powerful. So I feel that having auto includes is not good for the game. So I expect that something might happen about this, or they either remove the courier as an upgrade, so we stop seeing so many malls, or either they remove the ability for mall and make it work differently. I mean, they already did, because you just have to activate it, and you'd break an enchantment on the tower, an upgrade, and now you actually have to hit the tower, so you can just chump block it and avoid losing your stuff. But I still think that it's like you said, it's even Blink Dagger isn't as good, and there's not that many stuns and stuffs to purge right now because people are still experiencing with decks, so we don't get to see that much Jasper Daggers. So Maul is the auto include, and it's gonna keep being an auto include until the courier is an upgrade to the tower.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just the Maul, it's the Smasher defenses as well. Like it's been recurrent that in most games the first thing I check is, does he have a Maul, does he have a Smash? And also something I'll say is that at the game now provides you a short amount of statistics at the end of the game, and it tells you how much mana you've used for free if you want, or how much bonus mana you've used, if you will. And so it's really interesting to see the games where you destroy the enemy courier and you just realize that you've gained like 8 mana or something completely absurd. So it's a huge tempo swing to do that, and I think constructed decks, when they get properly done in the future, if the courier remains a tower enchantment, are going to be very focused on that, because I think right now it's a huge tactical advantage to destroy the courier, and that's not something you can ignore. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep bashing on the courier, because I think it's going to be really cool to have a courier going around your board and think about the cosmetic potential and so on. So that's really exciting. But
I'm not dash the donkey.
Yeah. So right now I just feel like it's one of the main offenders in my opinion, and yeah, let's hope that that things will be done in due time. I wanted also to say before we close that just going to open Steam's page here a little bit, because something that's not in the patch notes is that the game is now early access on Steam. So I think if you search it, you don't find it. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's like kind of unpublished or something, if you will. But the game is in early access on Steam, so you can come in there, join the discussions, drop a follow if you want to stay up to date on what's going on there. And the other thing that is good to know is if you go to the store page, they've added an FAQ. You can't review the game quite yet, but what you can do is look at the questions that Valve always asks developers relating to early access games, and there's some very interesting information here. So they want to improve the game with feedback from the community, that's clear. And the next question is approximately how long will this game be in early access? And they say 6 to 18 months. 6 to 18
months. One hell of a ride.
Are you ready, dude? Long haul
Dude,
number 2.
I've been 1 year and almost a half waiting for Artifact 2.0. No, I haven't. I can last 2 years on this, as long as they're gonna keep. They can have it on early access for 10 years as long as I care. As long as they keep pushing up updates and changing stuff and putting new stuff in the game, I'm fine with it.
Definitely. So I'm really happy to see this, because this means we are gonna have an old school beta. They're going to be doing this until the game's ready. This is really good to know. For all the people that are feeling frustrated, like, just, dudes, this is going to be another long haul, okay? You're going to be in at some point. I feel you, like, I'm with you. I hope you get your keys as soon as possible, because I want to play with all of you guys. But this is going to be a really long beta. We're going to be doing this together for a really long time. So don't try not to feel like you're missing out too much, because as you've seen, we're going to have really tiny patches. There's still a lot of cards that need to come out because we know that there are cards missing. This is going to be another long haul, guys. So I hope you're all ready to long haul together once again. This time, instead of 100 people, we're hopefully going to be a few thousand. Any last remarks, Kerry?
Yeah, so let me just ask you real quick before we close, because we're already going way ahead of the mark where we normally do. But there's like so much exciting stuff to talk about. It's kind of hard to keep it inside the 1 hour time gate. I'm gonna ask you the same thing that I ask Pronto and Lucas. So at this point for you, what's like the most overtuned card and the less overtuned, like the most undertuned card?
You mean like an overpowered, or
Yeah.
I think the most overpowered card was Rix. Now that it's been touched, personally, I think the hero that is going to be the most broken in the current version is going to be Outworld Devourer. That card is, how to put it, quietly and sneakily, I think, one of the most powerful heroes in the game. His signature card is not like amazing, but it has real good potential to lock out lanes for the opponent. And I think if we're going to see OD in Constructed, which I'm sure we will, because this card makes you start the game with 1 more mana, which is, generally regarded as completely OP. And I have played decks that have been exploiting that with OD, with Crystal Maiden, with Ogre Magi, where you can do completely busted stuff on turn 1. You can double Foresight on turn 1. You can spend like I've seen crazy stuff with OD. I think OD is going to be the most broken card in its current iteration, and if it keeps this way, it's going to change the meta to make people use Jaspers because of his signature as well. So that's my personal opinion right now. I think Kana, OD, Rix Oathbound are probably the strongest heroes. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Otherwise, in terms of the worst hero, that's a kind of a more difficult question to ask. Let me scroll quickly through the hero list. What's your most OP hero right now? Kana, I think you said, right?
I think Kana is really strong, but I don't think she's the best, the strongest hero. I still think Rix, like you're saying, Rix was God tier. I think he still might be God tier or S tier, whatever, because I still think that the signature card is like what makes him so good. The quick deploy and his signature card. I think like the worst card so far is the one that you actually have in your screen right now.
Yeah,
I feel Dragon Knight is like so blah.
Exactly.
He actually has 2 skills, but I don't know. I look at him and like, how can I make this work? I put him in a deck and he's like, eh.
He's in a very weird place where he has a lot of potential, and I'm yet to play him. Okay, so maybe I'm being unfair, but just looking at him, it's like, man, he should just transform into a dragon and do something way cooler than what this does.
The thing is, when you turn him into a dragon, he only stays a dragon for 1 turn.
Yeah, that's understandable, right? I mean, unless you want to do something like change his signature card to permanently change him to a dragon or something, but that might be busted too. So I don't know exactly what the way to go is with this hero, but it feels a bit underwhelming. I feel like a hero that transforms into a dragon, when he's a dragon, he should basically shit on everyone around him, but I don't know. Another hero that I forgot to mention, DP. Dude, DP is so strong right now. I guess she's the candidate for best black hero too.
But she's really strong because of the signature.
Yeah.
I already gave my opinion to the devs on it. In my opinion, I think she needs like after X turns Dispel, Exorcism, because I just feel that playing 7 mana and having a upkeep 12 damage and constantly having +3 generation for life is just
It's very strong.
Super strong.
I've made a ramp deck with OD just to get to play Exorcism before round 5, because it is like I think one of the stronger spells in the game. But I think if it's okay with you, man, we'll leave it at that for today.
Yeah, because we do this all day.
Yeah, because there's just too much to talk about, a lot going on. So I'm happy to invite all of you guys to join our Discord if you want to keep chatting about the game and the cards and so on. Go check out the people who are streaming. Give feedback via email, guys, please. Hopefully, like I said before, we're going to get a Discord soon, if not today or tomorrow. That would be like super hype. And otherwise, yeah, stay strong. Let's hope that there's going to be more regular waves. I already logged in today quickly, and I saw that there was way more people than on the weekend. 50 people online. Okay, I was playing Sunday, Monday, there was like 10 people. So this is super cool. Hopefully we're gonna get get past these rookie numbers, and we're gonna get there soon. So hang on tight, and good luck, and see you next time, guys.
See you guys next week.